Okay, I've got 12:30, so I'm going to go ahead and get started. I want to thank you for joining us. We are hosting a Tuesday Q&A, kind of like we did last year, but we're going to change it up just a little bit. Today, we're going to talk about 3-week progress reports. If you have something that you want to learn more about, please enter that into the chat. We're welcoming your suggestions, and we will get on here and talk about just about anything that you want to discuss to learn how to help your child do better at school. So I want to encourage you also, if you have questions during the webinar today, please enter those in. We've already gotten some questions from parents that we're going to go through, but I encourage you to ask those questions. We'll do our best to answer them live. So I'd like to introduce our panelists. We have Janelle Martin. She's the Director of College, Career, and Military Readiness, as well as many other things that she brings to Snyder ISD. And we have John Rush, who is our principal of Snyder Junior High School. So we'll go ahead and get started. We have a lot of questions that have already been submitted. So we'll dig right in. First question is, how come I can't see my kids' grades in Skyward? And maybe explain a little bit of what Skyward is as well, just in case we have somebody that's new to the district.
Why don't I start off with sharing a PowerPoint I put together just to kind of walk everyone through Skyward, the family access, because Skyward is our official grade book. So if you haven't logged on this year, you may be thinking some of your credentials are not active. So let's just kind of walk through that real quick. And I'll also go into Schoology. Maybe that will cover some of the questions that we have, and then we can fill in with some more information. Okay. All right, so give me just 1 second. All right, hopefully everyone can see my screen. Thumbs up if we can. Okay, good deal. Remember, you can always go to snyderisd.net, which is our school webpage. I've just kind of put some graphics here together. Under the Family Student tab, down at the very bottom, there is a Skyward Family Access gradebook information. It leads you to a second page where you can click right here, and it will actually log you into Skyward. So you'll get a screen that looks something like this with a login and password that you should have received at your campus. If you are unfamiliar with that or have not received a login and password, then your campus secretary's office or counseling office can provide that information to you as well. So once you log in, if this is the first screen you see and it says missing email, this is where we are missing some very important information from you as the parent or guardian. Not only are we missing an email to contact you, but you are also missing Parent Square notifications, which that is our major communication stream to parents and students alike. But you can quickly add your email address, and I'll show you here in a moment when we go to the next screen that that information can be updated so you won't miss out. A lot of our systems, Parent Square and our Schoology system, does sync with Skyward on a nightly basis. So if you were to log in today and correct your information, then you would start receiving information tomorrow. So this would be your first screen that you would see if you go under the My Account. And hopefully this is personal information, so I've blacked out everything, but you would see your information generated there. And this is where, if you did not provide an email, you would be able to put an email address in there and save those changes and link that information. It's very important if you want to set your preferences for receiving emails. You can do that in this location. Whoops, let me go back 1 screen. If you want to get certain grades, if your student falls below or within a range that you want to see that, then by all means, select those alerts, and you can get them as frequently as you would like. Daily, weekly, monthly, it's up to your choice. And so this is just a way that you would have kind of interaction and access to all of your students within Snyder ISD. So now if you wanted to, would this be in the end of the progress report, the 3 weeks, everybody's anxious to see how their students are doing. So Gradebook is probably being used a lot. You'll notice at the top, if you have multiple students within Snyder ISD, each student name would appear here. You need to select that student's name that you want to view their grades. Then a home screen would generate, and their class list would be here in this first box, along with the class name, maybe what period, if you're at the junior high or high school, that is taking place, along with the teacher. And most likely there is a hyperlink. The teacher's name is underlined, and that would allow you to email the teacher directly if you had a question. And we always encourage communication. When home and school are on the same page, that'll always equals success for the students. So that is just some important information. You will notice that we are in progress report 1, that is 3 weeks. And it's also the same grade as in the cycle, because we have a cumulative grading period going along. And so when I took a screenshot of this, no other grades have been posted since Friday for this particular account that I accessed. So that's why those grades are the same. Underneath the cycle grade, there also is a blue hyperlink or a blue underline. If you click on that hyperlink, and we're not live, so that's why these are still shots, it will go into the actually expand what those assignments that made up that grade. And you can see what the possible score is on each of those assignments, and what the actual your student's grade would be on each particular assignment. So that way, if you're communicating with a parent, you would be able to have more interaction with them and have more specific questions should the need arise. Okay, so remember, Skyward is our official gradebook, and that is where your most accurate information is going to be as far as each grading period. Now, we also utilize Schoology. This is not anything new to 3 of our campuses this year. It is new to junior high. They integrated into Schoology this year. So now all 4 campuses. So if you have students on any campus within Snyder ISD, Schoology is a common language. There again, we provided a login link on our school web page. You can see it says Schoology for Parents. If you will click on that, it will take you to a screen that it shows a blue background PowerSchool, but there is a login right at the very top. If you will click that, then you will be taken to a screen that looks similar to this, that says use your email or your username that has been generated with Schoology. And like I said earlier, if your email address is in your Skyward account, then you already have a Schoology account that has been created, and an email, username, and password has been sent to you. If you were a Schoology parent last year, the same email login information is the same. After this webinar, I will be forcing all login and password credentials to be regenerated or resent, not regenerated, resent to parents in case they might have forgotten over the summer and not be familiar with it. But what I want to caution you as you are logging in, you can put, I suggest just type in Snyder, all capital letters, and make sure that you select any school in Snyder that has, pardon me, the green arrow. That means those are our schools. You can see our information, and any of those campuses you'll be able to access, whether you have a student on that campus or not. So once you log into Schoology, you may, I forgot I just added this in here. And I believe Valerie's going to drop this link in the chat. If for some reason you have difficulties with a login or password in Schoology, if you'll fill out this Google form, and we'll have it on the website as well, then we can make sure we get a login and password generated for you, or contact you with any issues that may have arisen that you can't access. So when you log into your Schoology page initially, this is what you're going to see. You will see your name up here at the top, and then in this drop down, your name is always going to be the first one because you technically have an account in Schoology. But then all the students, your students and their school name is listed below that. And you can see over here, I've hidden the name, but I actually clicked on, there'll be a green check, and that is the name of the student's Schoology account that you're looking into. And then their name or a banner bar would be showing right up here saying what child, school student you're looking at. This homepage could give you kind of a synopsis, quick view of items, assignments that have been submitted, and it actually has a grade column hidden kind of underneath this. You'd be able to see, but let me go into a little bit more detail so you might understand. Whoops. This may be a familiar look. You can see the courses. If you click the courses here, then there again, your student's name would be here, and the courses that your student is enrolled would be reflected here. So you could actually access the class by clicking on one of these tabs here, and it would go into the class in which you wanted to check the grades or look at the assignments. And it would look something like this. You can easily then click the grades. By doing this way, you're actually seeing what your student sees. This is what your student logs into Schoology and works assignments or interacts or things of that nature. So you can go to the grade tab, and this will drop down. We're in cycle 1 right now. This is the first 6 weeks. This is always the end date. And then the assignments are listed below and what the student's grades are out of what their possible score would be. And this will be an ongoing viewing that the students can see. Another way you might want to look at is the grade report. This way, this lines out each of the classes. Whoops. And there again, it's just a simple view of your overall grade report. Now, the students can't see the overall grade in Schoology because there again, the Skyward Gradebook is our official gradebook. So our teachers sync their grades from Schoology into Skyward. We encourage at least a minimum of once a week, depending on their campus's administration directives. They may want their teachers to sync more frequently, but definitely once a week, those would be updated. And you would know on your family access in Skyward what their true overall grade is in a particular class. So that's why it's kind of important. You need to know how to access both platforms that we use, but remember that Skyward is the official gradebook. So that's all I had on, whoops, this. So I'm going to stop sharing now. And there we go.
All right. Thank you, Janelle. That was a really good explanation of how Schoology and Skyward works. Hopefully, if you weren't familiar with it, you feel a little more comfortable with that now. Let me dive into a couple more questions here. What should we do if we log in and we notice that our child's grades are not exactly where they need to be and they need some tutorial support or support from their teachers? What should we do? And Mr. Rush, you might want to chime in on this one too.
Yeah, the first thing that you need to do is to go ahead and either use Parent Square or email or make a phone call and talk to that teacher to find out really what's going on from their end. They're going to be your best access point. If you don't get a response from them within about 24 hours, let your campus administration know, because then we'll make sure that we go and also investigate and try to find out what's going on. Really, our teachers are asked to set up tutorials before school, after school, minimum of twice per the week. I do have some coaches, so that kind of struggles on this campus and at the high school, but they make sure they set aside at minimum of 2 times a week so that they are available, so that the child can get the tutorials they need. So all of that set up really through there. I think the biggest key thing is that communication part. Just use that parent square, reach out.
Definitely, and I might add, with the primary and intermediate campuses, they have tutorials built in their school day. So if it's something that, going back to what Mr. Rush says, if a parent is concerned and maybe their student is not in a particular tutorial session, that reaching out to the teacher and the campus administrator, and they can help you coordinate that.
That's right. And I believe the high school also has availability for tutorials. Encourage your student to reach out to that teacher, or if they're not sure exactly what to do, you can certainly message them through Parent Square call. There's also Pride Hall that's available at the high school too. And are the students pretty familiar with that, Ms. Martin?
I believe so. Those are at least twice a week. And it's kind of an open forum, open concept, so you can come for any subjects. I know the high school also has designated times for certain subjects outside of Pride Hall, but Pride Hall is a time that anyone could come, and there are teachers available of the core academic subjects I know that would be able to assist. It might not be the teacher they actually have in the classroom, but it's a teacher that's very knowledgeable of the subject area. So don't hesitate. Pride Hall, probably at the beginning of the year, is not as frequently attended and popular, but definitely as the year progresses and it gets closer to semester exams or at the end of a grading period, all of a sudden Pride Hall becomes really busy.
I bet. Well, we'll make sure to post those times, and as we get more specific information, I'm sure now that we've entered the close of the 3 weeks, more information about tutorials and support will come out as we're identifying where some students may need some extra help. So we'll definitely get that out there. Okay, and I guess another question that we had come in is, why do missing assignments that don't count, or the teacher changed their mind and they didn't give the grade in Schoology or whatnot, why are those still showing up as maybe a missing assignment?
Okay, that has to do with the coding, the way the teacher codes it. There may be times that a student is absent for some reason and didn't complete an assignment in class. Let's say they took a grade on. So instead of counting against a student for being absent or not able to fulfill it, the teacher has an option of marking it missing or marking it not exempt, that a student doesn't even have to complete that assignment. So that just depends on, and there's 2 little kind of flags beside each grade. It's a kind of an octagon, orange octagon, completely covered in, or one that is partially covered in, meaning that it's missing, but they're still going to have to complete it. If it's completely covered in, it's not counted against the student. So it doesn't average in the overall student grades if it's not counted against it. It's like a no count grade. However, it does transfer into Skyward, because we say we sync every night. So when a teacher performs that sync, if they'd marked it that way in Schoology, then when it goes to Skyward, it's going to show up with an asterisk, and it may show up missing. Hopefully the teacher was able to code it correctly before the sync took place. So that may be, it'd show up as a missing, but for no count, or it's a missing assignment. So the student knows, oh, I need to get that turned in. And then once a student turns that grade in, that symbol goes away, because there's actually grade in the column. The teacher will resync the grade, and then that asterisk will go away on the Skyward side, and the true earned grade will be reflected.
And I think that's really helpful. As a parent myself, I often start with Schoology to see what assignments are missing. I made the mistake for a while of starting in Skyward and then perhaps seeing that something was missing and getting onto my child and saying, hey, why isn't this turned in, or why do you have a 0? Then we would go look in Schoology and see that it actually was turned in, because you can click on those symbols and find out exactly what's going on. And perhaps it just hasn't synced yet. So lesson learned on my part.
Yes, that's right. With the two platforms, it's always a good thing to check both to make sure. Sometimes teachers want to wait till the whole class has all their grades in before they actually sync. And there has been times that teachers have decided maybe the class didn't do that well, so they wanted to go back and no count that grade for the entire class. So that's why sometimes there's a delay in those grades not reflecting. So being able to check both, there again, communicating with your student is very important, and communicating with the teacher then if there's a question, because hey, teachers are human and sometimes they do make mistakes and they overlook. I know when I was a teacher, I would get busy and I've overlooked a grade. I knew I put it in, but I didn't. So it's important. This is where we say that students become academically responsible, young adults, for their academics and knowing what their grades are and taking pride in staying on top of their grades and being in communications with their teacher as well.
Mr. Rush, do you have anything that you would like to add as far as the 3-week progress reports specific to the junior high?
No, that pretty much summed it up. I just make sure, though, if you do have a junior high student, that you bear with us, because like Ms. Martin pointed out, it is new to all of us on this campus. And so she has been very diligently helping us to try to sync up all of those grades and everything, so that Schoology and Skyward are talking. So be patient with us. We are getting there. It's a learning curve, just like with everything else.
That's right. And I want to encourage too, those notifications that you can set up within Skyward, and I believe even there's some in Schoology as well, are really helpful as a parent. I've got 4 kids in the district, and sometimes it can be overwhelming trying to keep up with everything. And so with the notification, I actually have mine set up daily. We want to stay on top of it, and I can see if, hopefully, to identify a problem before it gets too bad. So it's certainly helpful to be able to set those notifications up. So let me just remind you one more time, you can ask a question if you would like. At the bottom of your screen, there's a Q&A feature. We have about 7 minutes left. So if you would like to ask a question, please feel free to do so. And we will answer it live. We'll see if anything else comes in. Also, too, on that screen, Ms. Martin showed the very beginning, when you log in, if you need your Skyward password, that's something we set up. We have a lot of requests throughout the year for people that forgot their Skyward password. Maybe they had it saved in their computer and that got lost. You can certainly call the campus at any time, or there's a form that you can submit as well if you need that. So okay, I'm not seeing any other questions that are coming in. Y'all have any last minute reminders or tips for our attendees on the call today?
I would just encourage the parents there again to become familiar with both platforms and ask your students when they come home today, what did they learn, and get them to show you something in Schoology. Being able to see all 4 campuses. We've got some pretty creative teachers. We've got some pretty involved teachers, and students, believe it or not, are figuring things out faster than some other teachers. So take a look at your child's Schoology from their point of view. And then if you have questions, reach out to us, because that's the only way we can make sure that everybody's understanding and get the message out. And the junior high is doing great with getting on board this year. So hopefully we don't ever have to go back into a virtual world, that we can stay going forward. But by utilizing our Schoology platform, it gives those students who are not in attendance an opportunity to stay caught up on their schoolwork, whether they're out for illness, for other activities, school-related activities, or anything like that. All of our teachers are posting their assignments within Schoology. So really, when their students say, I didn't know what Miss So-and-so or Coach So-and-so assigned for us today, they really do, because it's in Schoology, so they can access it at any time.
And that has been a great tool as a parent as well, to be able to go in and I can see the work that my children are doing. You know, in a digital world, sometimes we miss out a little bit when we don't have the worksheets that we can flip through every day and see how they were doing, but we can actually go in and look and see what they have written, or some of their feedback from the teacher, and all of that on Schoology. So it's really interactive, and once you get familiar with it, it's very helpful information.
Yes.
Mr. Rush, anything else?
No, I think everything's been about covered.
Okay, well, I want to thank you all for joining us. Please email us at questions@snyderisd.net if you have any questions, comments, ideas for our next week's session. We'll do this again. Our goal is to do it every Tuesday at 12:30. We're recording this session as well, and we'll be sure to post it on our website. If you know of somebody that might be struggling, please help us get the word out. Let them know we want to be a resource to you, and we're trying to make as much content available to help you through this. And of course, we don't want to just be a video. Feel free to call us at any time, and we'll be glad to walk you through any questions that you have. Thank you all very much for joining us.
Thank you.